So, as we know, the Utah Jazz elected to take three interesting prospects, Cody Williams, Kyle Filipowski, and Isaiah Collier, in this most recent NBA draft. And while Kyle Filipowski, by all context, was the most ready to play in the league, a surprising development was Isaiah Collier showing that he can be a greater point guard than most people even imagined him to be capable of, especially so early on. And we're going to talk about that today in this video. With that being said, it's your boy Wraith Hoops. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Let's go ahead and get into this one. At just 6'3", 210 pounds, and the age of 20, this rookie has garnered the attention of many by being the Rookie of the Month in February while putting together a slew of games, averaging 9.5 assists per match, which was third in the league, if memory serves me right, overall for the month. Just to show that he was really doing it. Now, granted, yes, the Utah Jazz are a tanking team, but at the same time, in order to get almost 10 assists on a night-by-night basis, you have to have your guys hitting shots and you have to be making correct reads. As we know, he does have a little bit of a turnover problem, and that was something that we were expecting when he came out of college from USC. He ended up having injuries and other things that hampered him and held him back from being able to get a little bit of the things that he needed to get taken care of and rectified. But there are some glaring things that we can appreciate alongside the weaknesses that we have also seen. One thing that I would like to appreciate about this season is while we are tanking, it hasn't been a senseless and meaningless tank. It has allowed us to have the opportunity to understand who our players are at their core. Yes, we understood that he was going to be a little bit of a defensive liability because of his lack of wingspan and height. True. Yes, we knew he didn't come out of college with the ability to shoot the three at a very high clip. He's shooting 23% right now on 2.5 attempts roughly per game. We knew this. He also has 3 turnovers a game. We knew that was going to happen as well. However, he might just evolve into the point guard that we need because he sees the floor in a way that Collin Sexton and Keyonte George don't. Now, Collin Sexton, I believe, was our best point guard option previous to Isaiah Collier's appearance because he took strides last season that I felt was possible, but most people didn't think was likely to occur. Now, with Keyonte George, he didn't play in college as a point guard, and being a lead guard his rookie year, things didn't really pan out well. He was struggling to make reads, make plays, and while he did see some ups and downs, just like his shooting splits, overall, there wasn't a whole lot to love about him as a point guard. Now, with Isaiah Collier blossoming onto the scene, he has, in essence, taken that starting point guard spot and moved Keyonte George to the bench, where he's been able to be a little bit more consistent, though still spotty, and be able to shoot the ball with Jordan Clarkson levels of poise and desire. When it comes to Isaiah Collier overall this season, he's averaging 7.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, and roughly a steal per game. He's also playing in about 25 minutes of action a night, shooting 41.5% from the field, and like I said, that 23, almost 24% from beyond the arc. Shooting from the free throw line doesn't really give us much to feel happy about, though, because he shoots about 65.5% from that mark, which doesn't bode well for his ability to become a really proficient free throw shooter or three-point shooter during the duration of his entire career. I believe that it will be in the best interest of the Utah Jazz to put him into more positions for him to succeed and fail, because there have been multiple times during the season where he's made really, really great reads, but there's also been times where he's tried to fit the ball into a tight window, where he's just completely misunderstood where the ball's supposed to go. And one thing I would like to give him credit for, though, during that entire process, not once has he given up and put his head down. He might get a little frustrated, you might see him a little bit pissed off at times, but ultimately he always attempts to understand what the issue was and also rectify it the next time coming back down the court. Defensively, while he hasn't been the greatest defender and we knew that he was going to be a slight negative at least, he has not been nearly the net negative that a lot of people could have assumed him to have been. Jordan Clarkson, in a way, is one of those guards where you know he's going to be a bad defensive assignment, and most people don't expect him to hold up literally at all. He gives the resistance of probably a piece of cardstock paper on most possessions. However, he has shooting and hot streaks here, there, and everywhere in between that allow him to somewhat even it out. For Isaiah Collier, his ability to be a proficient point guard will ultimately allow him to stay on the court or be forced off the court. At the same time, defensively, his ability to not be a complete cone and use that youth and hip swiveling nature of his abilities to just be a bit of a pest, play passing lanes, and not make things easy on the opposing point guards, and when switches, avoiding being bullied, allows him to stay on the floor for longer than a lot of other guys his height may be able to. In that same vein, I think that his turnovers and his shooting is going to be a tremendous hurdle when the Jazz actually plan on competing and being a playoff caliber team. I think that the turnovers is going to be a little bit less of a problem because that's just Reed's understanding. And because he is so privy to giving the ball up and passing, turnovers are going to be prominent. So as long as he can keep it under 3 per game, and if he can get to a point where he can give you 8, 9 assists on a nightly basis, while also being right around the low 2, like 2.1, 2.2, or even under 2 turnovers per game, then I think that he reaches the upper echelon of the point guard stardom. His downhill attack and floater bag is relatively proficient, and I do enjoy watching him with the ball in his hands, even when he decides to call his own number. It's really only outside the three-point line where his jumper seems to be a little bit wonky, and at times when you see him shoot, it looks like he trusts it and it doesn't go, and he has shooter's misses. Then there's times where it looks like he doesn't trust it, or it seems like he just got a bad pass and he wasn't able to correct the laces and get the ball where he wanted it to. And while he releases the ball and things look pretty functionally smooth, his face and his mannerisms after the ball releases tells you everything you need to know. And then it misses kind of hard to potentially nowhere near the rim. In that same vein, though, I believe that Isaiah Collier is going to be the point guard of the Utah Jazz future as it stands right now. I do reserve the right and room to amend this as the season progresses, but I believe him having a 50-plus game sample size is pretty darn explicit, and over a month of really great play, leading to him being picked as Rookie of the Month, also deserves some great amount of credit to go ahead and just point out the obvious, that is, he's a pretty darn good point guard as a rookie. And as memory serves, he is the leading rookie when it comes to assists. And overall, he's been one of the upper echelon ones. In my personal book, is he number 1? No, that goes to Stephon Castle, who I would have loved to have on the Utah Jazz, particularly considering the fact that we need a wing defender. Stephon also was a willing passer in college, and I believe that he could have been the point guard for the San Antonio Spurs going forward after Chris Paul gleaned some knowledge into him. But they got De'Aaron Fox, so that's not even necessary. In a perfect world, the Jazz would have Stephon Castle. But Isaiah Collier isn't too bad of a consolation prize, in my book at the very least. And if he continues to grow and continues to show that he has the confidence to put the ball on the floor, to make the correct reads, or to make the wrong reads and pick his head up and get back on defense instead of turning the ball over and watching things go down on the other end on a fast break, then I think that we're in pretty good waters. Overall, again, I do want to harp a little bit on that 65.5% free throw shooting, because usually guys that don't shoot threes well, but shoot okay to good at free throws, usually tells you that they're probably, or in some way, have the means to be a solid to great three-point shooter. However, the fact that he doesn't have that also tells me in a way that he may not ever in his career be a solid three-point threat. If we surround him enough with the tools and shooters like your Lauri Markkanens, like your Colin Sextons, like a piping hot Keontae George, or like the ever-efficient Bryce Sensabaugh that we have seen this season, then you could see a world where him not having a shooting touch isn't going to completely destroy the offense. But it's always going to be something to keep in the back of your mind, especially when the Utah Jazz actually play to win games. With that being said, though, I personally would grade his rookie year so far to be a B+ to A-. Again, those turnovers and lack of shooting does do a significant amount of harm to his game overall, but it cannot be understated or overstated how impressive his overall point guard senses have been, despite the turnovers that come here, there, and in between. With that being said, though, let me know what you guys grade Isaiah Collier and who do you think deserves a spotlight next. With that being said, it's your boy Wraith Hoops. Go and smash that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and become a member of the channel to help support the content. And as always, good morning, good evening, and good night, no matter where you're on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.